Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz. Sorry, that's sorry. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. How now, brown cow? Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and this is Ascension Presents. So, I'm sure that you've had this experience where you have some kind of discussion with someone who's not Catholic, or they're not a Christian. Maybe they're not even a theist. Maybe they're an atheist. And at some point, the topic of morality, issue of morality, comes up, and you might say, "Well, I think that's wrong. That behavior is wrong." And someone quotes the favorite quote of the Bible for basically non-Bible believing people is, "Wait, what about thou shalt not judge? How about judge not lest ye be judged?" And that's what Jesus said, and it's in chapter 7 of Matthew's Gospel. I'd say, yes, it is in chapter 7 of Matthew's Gospel. So here's the question: can Christians judge? The answer is kind of complicated, because whereas Jesus does command us not to judge, he also commands us to judge. Here's what I mean. When Jesus tells us, again, in chapter 7 of Matthew's Gospel, stop judging lest ye be judged, to take the speck out of your eye before you try to take the plank out of your neighbor's eye, your brother's eye, he's prohibiting us from judging the heart of a person, and condemning them, which makes complete sense because we can never know the heart of a person, right? We actually don't have that kind of information. We don't have that access to that data. And so we can't judge the heart of a person. But Jesus also commands us to judge the actions of a person in the exact same gospel. Yeah, in fact, it's in the exact same chapter. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but underneath are ravenous wolves. Here's what he goes on to say. By their fruits you will know them. Just so, goes on, every good tree bears good fruit, and every rotten tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear good fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear bad fruit. He's saying, judge people by their actions. Not people, judge where they're at, whether they're trustworthy or not, by what they're doing. So Jesus actually teaches us and commands us. We have to make a distinction, right? We have to make a distinction between good and evil, between good fruit and bad fruit. So Christians, we're prohibited, absolutely prohibited, from condemning someone's heart, or from condemning or from judging someone's heart, because we don't have access to that information. But we can judge actions as that was not right. And we do this on a daily basis, right? It's a wise thing to do. If you're a parent, you make that distinction and you say, well, I don't want my children to play with the kids down the street that I know are engaged in bad actions. That mom and dad, your daughter says, hey, can I have a sleepover at so-and-so's house? And you're like, okay, I know about that person, and I know that it would not be good, wouldn't be wise for my daughter to hang out with that person. Same thing if, gentlemen, if this girl asked you out on a date, and you know for a fact that, no, actually, we know that she regularly lies, so I'm not going to believe her. I'm not going to trust her with my heart. Same kind of thing, if you're entering into a business relationship or business partnership with someone, you wouldn't just say, well, I know you've embezzled money in the past, but I don't want to judge. I don't want to say that's wrong, so I'll just enter into a business relationship with you now. That doesn't make any sense, and we know that. So when it comes to the moral life, we're also called to do that, right? Not to judge hearts, but to be able to assess, discern, and judge actions. I'll get emails, I'll get messages from people all the time who say, okay, so can I tell you something, and you promise me you won't judge me? We have this really, really crazy, I would even actually say irrational fear of judgment from other people. And I remember a priest buddy of mine telling me, he said that we live in an age in a culture where nothing is wrong, but everyone is deathly afraid of being judged. But think about that. Isn't that true in our culture? You try to strip away right from wrong, and we live in this culture where no, nothing is wrong. Whatever you want, just go ahead and do this. But everyone walks around deathly afraid of being judged. I think one of the reasons is because we're so disconnected, right? We're disconnected from people who truly love us. We're disconnected from people who have stable relationships with us. Our families are fractured. And so we live these lives that are disconnected. But even more fully, we don't know who we are. And because we don't know who we are, we don't know who our identity is. We don't know who our dad is. We don't know that our deep worth. And so if I think that someone's judging me, and I haven't discovered my true identity in Jesus as a son or daughter of God, then yes, that's going to be the worst thing possible. It's going to be the scariest thing imaginable, because you're stripping me of who I think I am. You're basing a judgment off of me, off of my actions, or off what you think my actions are. And so then judgment can be very intimidating and can be very scary. But here's where, as Christians, we don't need to be afraid of judgment. We don't need to be afraid of someone looking at our actions or even pretending to look at our hearts and judging our actions. We can say, I know who I am. I know who my dad in heaven is. And so I'm not afraid of your judgment. I am very, very concerned with God's judgment of me. I'm very concerned. In fact, maybe I would even say very afraid of God's judgment of me. That's why we have the great consolation of God's mercy and God's love for us as well. At the heart of all this, this fear of judgment, I think, is a fear that we're not lovable. But here's the good news of Jesus. You are lovable even when you do stuff wrong. That you are loved by him even when others may discern that you're not worthy of their love. That in all things, in your successes and in your failures, in your strength and in your weakness, the Father speaks over you and says, you are mine and you are loved. So you don't need to be afraid of judgment. But also because we've been loved by our Father, we're called to love others, even when they're weak and even when they fail. But we are called to discern actions and tell the truth about them. So we're called to judge and told not to judge. We have to do it in the right way. For all of us here at Ascension Presents, my name is Father Mike. God bless.